Hello, St. Matthias, 6th grade. This is the review for your Unit 1 test for tomorrow. So the first section here was to define the following terms. So I've already done that for you. You can go ahead and copy as you need, or you can just Google these. So equivalent ratios are ratios that can be simplified or reduced to the same value. So you would take the larger value and divide it by some value, your scale factor, to get the smaller value. And essentially, every time you did that, everything would be the same. Percent is a relative value indicating hundredths parts of any quantity. So you're breaking something into 100 pieces, and then what that value is your percent. A rate is a ratio that compares two different quantities which have different units. A ratio then is the relationship or comparison between two numbers of the same unit to check how bigger one number is than the other. To organize that, then you can use a ratio table. A ratio table is a structured list of equivalent ratios that helps us to understand the relationship between the ratios and the numbers. And then the last definition here is the unit rate. It's the rate of the two different units with a denominator of 1. You can't always get a denominator of 1, but you should always try to get a denominator of 1. So you're breaking it up into something per some unit. Pounds per, apples per pound, miles per gallon, miles per hour. Something per 1 unit. All right, so let's look at number 2 here then. A student answered 86 problems on a test correctly and received a grade of 98%. How many problems were on the test? So what we know is that we have 86 problems that were correct. We don't know the total number of problems, but we do know that this correlates to 98% out of 100%. So if we're looking at these values, some of the tricks that we've learned aren't really going to work too well to get our answer. Because these values are very close, so there's nothing I can multiply to get from here to here or vice versa. And these values are very close, so there's nothing I can really multiply here. So the best way to do this one would be the butterfly method. I know a lot of you don't like this method, but I'm going to show you how it's done. So let me grab a color. Grab 2 different colors. Nope. Hold on. Okay, so you're always going to multiply on the angle. So these values are going to be multiplied together, and these values are going to be multiplied together. So the purple numbers are 86 times 100 equals, and I'm going to do the green numbers, 98 times the total number of problems. So then how this gets worked out is I have 86 times 100, which gives me 8600 equals 98, and then I'm just going to simplify that to t. Now to get the total number of problems, I have to divide this value by this value. So I'm going to do 8600 divided by 98 equals t. The total number of problems on the test, and I will bring the calculator over. 8600 divided by 98 is 87.75, or we can say 88 problems, because you can't have a partial problem. All right, so let's look at number 3 then. Pamela bought an electric drill at 85% the regular price. She paid $32.89 for the drill. What was the regular price? So we know that she paid $32.89. That was our part. We don't know the original price. but we do know that it was 85% out of 100. So again, these numbers aren't that great to work with to use the tricks that we've learned. We could use a 10 by 10 grid. We could use a double line graph, but again, I think the easiest way to do this one would be the butterfly method. So again, I'm going to take these values on the diagonal and these values on the diagonal. So the purple values are 3289 times 100, and that is equal to the green values, which is 85 times the price. So then we'll go ahead and calculate these. This becomes 3289 equals 85, and we're just using P for price. So then I do 3289 divided by 85 is equal to my price. So the original price of the drill $38.69. So that is the original price. I tried to make sure that there was nice numbers on the test, so I gave you the harder numbers on the review to help you understand what everything is. All right, so number 4, Ben earns $42,800 a year. 12% of that is taken out for taxes. How much is taken out for taxes? So we don't have the amount that we're taking out, but we do have the total that he makes, and we know that the taxes is 12% out of 100. So this one would be one that we can use those tips and tricks that we learned in class. I'm going to divide both of these by 100. So this ends up being 1. This ends up being 428, because I'm just moving this 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places. So now to get from 1 to 12, I multiply times 12. So then 428, I'm going to multiply times 12. Just some quick math here. So the total amount taken out for taxes is $5,136. Or again, we could have used the butterfly method, but this actually works with what we've learned in class. All right, let's come to the back here. So there are 32 students in class. 9 of those students are women. What percent are men? So we know that we have 32 students, and there's 2 ways that we can do this. We can either start with the women and switch to the men, or we can just calculate how many men. So I know that there's 32 total students, and if I subtract the 9 that are women, that gives me 23. So I have 23 students that are men. This is the total. I don't know what percent that is, but I know that I always have out of 100%. So this is roughly 1/3, 32. If I multiply those by 3, it's not going to work out very well. I can't really divide it by 3 or 100. And these don't work too well. So again, this is going to be one of those examples where the butterfly method is going to work well. We could do a double number line graph. You're not going to get the exact percentage, but you would get close. So if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to multiply everything times 3, that would give you an idea of what your answer is supposed to be. So here I'll come over and do 23 times 3. So roughly 70%, 69%. So that's the answer that we should be anticipating. So I have my purple values and my green values. The purple values are 23 times 100. And that is equal to my green values, which is 32 times my percent. So this is 2300 equals 32, and I'm going to use P for percent. So I'm going to do 2300 divided by 32 equals P. If I bring my calculator over here, 2300 divided by 32 is 71.875%, or 72% roughly, which is close to what we had here. That would have been an acceptable way, because 33.3 repeating is 1/3. If I multiply 3 times that, I would get close. You could have done that. Either one I would accept, as long as you're showing your work so that I know the steps that you're taking, the thought process that you're taking. Make sure that you show your work. All right. Brian's mom spent $46.20 filling up her gas tank. If her gas tank can hold 12 gallons of gas, how much did each gallon cost? Okay, so we're trying to find that price per gallon. So we have some value to $46.20. We're trying to figure out how much 1 gallon is based on a 12-gallon tank. So here, whatever we're going to do, we're going to multiply this times whatever this is. So we're going to do $46.20 divided by 12. I ran out of room. So this would be 3, 6. This is 8, 6. 60. Okay, so that should be $3.81 roughly, and I will double check that here. 46.2 divided by 12. Oh, 385. I had the decimal point in the wrong place. So this is $3.85 per 1 gallon. All right, number 7. Convert the following to a fraction, then a ratio. Write the fraction in the simplest form, 25%. So I have 25%. That needs to go to first a fraction. So we're going to do 25 over 100, because anytime we have a percent, it's always over 100. I can simplify this. I can divide each of these by 25. So that gives me 1 over 4. Either answer is acceptable. You can leave it like this. Nope, sorry. It says write in simplest form. Yes, it has to be this answer. Sometimes you cannot simplify that, so you would have to leave it over 100. And then we're writing it as a ratio. You can use any equivalent ratio to write this. So I can do 1 to 4. I could do 25 to 100. I can do 2 to 8. Anything as long as it is equivalent to this or this. Okay, here we have convert the following to a fraction, then to a ratio, write the fraction in simplest form. So I have 35%. That starts out as 35 over 100. Both of these are multiples of 5, so I can divide these by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So that is the simplest form. And then write it as a ratio. So here we can also write it with the word 2, or we can have the colons. Either one is completely acceptable. And then again, I can write it 35 to 100. I can do 14 to 40, anything. Any of these are completely acceptable as long as you have your fraction in simplest form, which is this. All right, so now we have converting to a percent. So I have 5 to 10. We know that anything for a percent, we need to multiply, needs to be with a value of 100. So I can multiply both of these times 10, because 10 times 10 gives me 100. 5 times 10 is 50. And then if we're converting that back to our percentage, we have 50%. Okay, last one here, I'm doing the same thing. I have 3 to 25. I need to get this to be 100 as well. I need to multiply that times 4. 25 times 4 gives me 100. 4 times 3 gives me 12. So that converts to 12%. All right, so these are the answers for the test for the review for tomorrow. Please make sure that you understand this. Reach out if you have any questions. Feel free to comment with your questions. And then bring these tomorrow to help you on the test. Have a great day.